Yankees fan, let me show you something that showed up in the team's latest updates. Today there are 3 stories that should get you excited about what's being built in the Bronx this season. From a 22-year-old phenomenon that ESPN's Jeff Passan is already calling the future of the Yankees, to Garrett Cole showing that his comeback is being handled the right way, all the way to a name you've probably never heard before, who showed up at spring training and made everyone's jaws drop with a 102-mile-per-hour fastball. Stay here because that last story, especially, is the kind of thing the Yankees do better than any other team in the league. Fan, let's start with the name everyone is talking about at spring training, Carlos LaGrange. And look, it's not just anyone praising him, it's Jeff Passan from ESPN. And if you follow baseball closely, you know that when Passan writes about a prospect in that tone, it's worth stopping everything and paying attention. What he said was straight to the point. It wouldn't be surprising to see LaGrange pitching important innings for the Yankees in September, or even earlier. September, we're in March. That's incredibly fast for a 22-year-old. But then you look at the numbers and you understand why Passan talks about him like that. He's 6'10". His fastball has already been recorded at 100 miles per hour and could be even a little faster than that. Passan used a phrase I really liked. He called LaGrange the epitome of the modern power arm. And he added that the Yankees are exactly the kind of organization that knows how to develop this type of pitcher. Now here's where it gets interesting for me. The path Passan describes for him is starting as a starter in the minor leagues, moving up, and if he reaches the majors this year, fitting into the bullpen, and alongside who? David Bednar and Camilo Doval. Passan called this possible combination the Nasty Boys 2.0, a bullpen built on extreme velocity. The most common comparison people use to describe LaGrange is Dellin Betances. Similar build, explosive stuff, huge potential. But Betances himself said in a recent interview that LaGrange might be even better than he was. That changes the scale of the conversation, doesn't it? Because if LaGrange becomes just a dominant bullpen arm, that's already great. But if he follows the path of someone like Chris Sale or David Price, 2 pitchers who initially worked out of the bullpen before becoming aces in the American League, then we're talking about one of the biggest pitching prospects the Yankees have developed in years. I know it's easy to get excited about prospects, but when Passan writes about it, when Betances comments on it, and when the numbers back it up, it stops feeling like hype and starts looking like reality. Let's move to the second update, and this is one I personally follow very closely. Garrett Cole. The Athletic had access to one of Cole's rehab workouts and described what they saw in a way I really liked. They said he looks obsessed, focused, completely locked into the process. In case you forgot, Cole missed the entire 2025 season after undergoing Tommy John surgery. An entire season. For the Yankees as ace, the leader of the rotation, the guy you'd put on the mound in Game 1. But what we're seeing now in spring training is a pitcher who hasn't lost focus. Tommy John rehab is long and mentally demanding, not just physically. And according to the reports, Cole is taking it as seriously as possible. Every session, every step of the process, no shortcuts. Now, the impact of this for the Yankees in 2026 is huge. The rotation depends heavily on how his return unfolds. If Cole comes back strong in the second half of the season, this team looks completely different. And I also like that the coverage isn't forcing a narrative that he'll be ready on day 1. It's being honest. He's still in the process. The image this report paints of Cole is of a guy who isn't going to let this surgery define the end of his story in the Bronx. And now, the story I really needed to tell you today, because this one wasn't on almost anyone's radar. Giovanni Cruz. The Yankees signed him in November, quietly. No headlines, no buzz, and Cruz had never thrown a single inning in the major leagues. Until Friday. In the spring training game against the Atlanta Braves, Cruz made his debut wearing the Yankees uniform. Just 1 inning, 15 pitches, and what he did in that short window was enough to put his name into the conversation in a way nobody expected. 102 miles per hour on the fastball and 102 on the sinker too. 2 strikeouts, the entire field watching that inning. Cruz is 26 years old, born in the Dominican Republic, and he passed through 3 organizations before reaching the Bronx: the Cubs, the Padres, and the Red Sox. 7 seasons in the minors, a 3.49 ERA, an average of 10.3 strikeouts per 9 innings. The historical weakness has been control. 6.7 walks per 9 innings last season is simply too high. But here's the point. Even LaGrange, the guy we talked about earlier, has a higher career walk rate than Cruz. So this isn't a unique problem. The Yankees have found hidden bullpen gems several times in recent years. Luke Weaver, Fernando Cruz, guys who arrived without much attention and ended up delivering. Giovanni Cruz could be the next name on that list. I want to see more innings from him. I want to see if he can maintain his control as the level of competition rises. But the talent is there. 3 stories, 3 reasons to believe the 2026 Yankees could be something special. A 22-year-old prospect throwing 100 miles per hour, an ace coming back after missing an entire season, and a 102-mile-per-hour arm who introduced himself in the loudest possible way during spring training. So here's the question for you. Which of these 3 names do you think will have the biggest impact on the Yankees in 2026? Tell me in the comments. And if something is happening in the Bronx, we'll talk about it here.